End quote, repeat the line.
That's our fucking president, man.
End quote, repeat the line.
Like, are you kidding me? But I can't tell you how many people sent me that video, like on Instagram or just in text message. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is our president.
It is.
Like, he's just cognitively not there than someone. That's why the internet's a fantastic thing. If you know the movie Anchorman, where like,
yep,
they're like, you can't put it on the teleprompter or he'll read it. And they did the Biden thing, end quote, repeat the line. And then they cut to the part of Anchorman like, Jesus, you can't put anything on the prompter. Burgundy will read it. And I'm like, well,
you had a real live Ron Burgundy moment.
Yes, that's what it is, man. But it's a shame.
And seriously, talking about that, I know we talk about it quite frequently, every 2 weeks it seems like, but it's not going to get any better.
No, no chance.
It's like
hence why the statistics.
But I also laugh, like if it's your guy, you want to defend him to the end,
sure?
Right? I mean, like you're crazy Trump. You're people that like think that Trump is the second coming.
Right.
He could literally go on the street and kill somebody, someone's grandma, and no one's going to care.
Right, exactly.
This guy is walking around as the leader of the free world with a couple screws loose, a couple screws missing, apparently, and he's just completely normal to some people.
Yeah.
If you're on the other side of the equation.
He fell off the bike the one day.
It's fucking nuts.
Like, well, and that's the thing. It's like, just own it. Like, okay, like he's not there. There was CNN did that poll recently that said, I believe it was over 60% of Democrats don't want him to run again. Mm-hmm. But the more interesting it was Democrats 30 and under, over 90% don't want him to run for a second term. 90%. 9 out of 10 people under 30 don't want him to run. That's what they were going after to get him there. Mm-hmm. Like, it's crazy. And it's, I've had friends that voted for Biden. I haven't heard a word from them.
Yeah.
It's like, just own it. Just own it. He's not there. Like, it's okay. Like, we'll get somebody else in there.
Here's the thing. I would never ask anyone to change their political or their personal philosophy. I'm just saying, can't you find somebody else to fly your flag?
Yeah.
Right? We don't have to agree.
Not there.
But someone needs to be competent.
I feel like that's box one you have to check to be the president. And I'm not sure we're there. I mean, he read the teleprompter. He fell off a fucking bike. He fell up the steps getting on a plane. Like, you can't make this shit up. And you don't want to see a president fail, and you don't want to see, because he's the leader of the free world. However, this is where we are.
Yeah, it gets old because there's always something new.
Every week.
But wait, let me ask you this as an attorney. Mm-hmm. There's got to be a process that if he would go on let's say he would fall off a cliff tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not metaphysically, I'm saying, well, maybe metaphysically. I'm just saying cognitively, he fell off a cliff tomorrow and he couldn't find the podium. He was that bad.
Yeah.
So how does the mechanism take action where who steps in place, who corrals him, who gets the immediate evaluation? How does that happen?
I can't remember I think there's some sort of if I remember, they were talking about doing it with Trump, like invoking I think it was the 25th or 20th. I can't remember the amendment to remove a president because he's unfit. So I think there's something that Congress has to invoke to remove the president if they believe he's unfit. Like, it's a process. I believe they have to go. You can't just say, well, dude's not there anymore, let's get somebody else. Like, you have to go through the process. I think Congress has to initiate the process.
But that takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a
while. But what about the initial steps to get him cognitively evaluated? Like, who makes the determination to do that?
That's a good question. I don't know. But I'm sure the White House doctor has to make that determination, right? Because he has the White House doctor.
Yeah, but you know how White House doctors are. They're always on the team with their... Right?
Yeah, but I feel like at a certain point in time...
I mean, come on, man. Come on.
I mean, listen, if the dude doesn't know his own name at some point in time, I feel like as a doctor, you have a duty, the Hippocratic Oath, to do what's best. And if he has completely just lost it, I think at that point in time, as the doctor, you're not holding up your end of the bargain to the medical profession if you don't do something. Now, I don't know the full process. Like, that's not my expertise. There is a process you have to go through, but I think the doctor's evaluating him on a consistent basis. And someone has to do something at some point in time if it keeps getting worse. So we got 2 more years of this shit.
Also out of the White House this past week or so, Joe Biden referred to Latinos as comparing them to the uniqueness of the tacos.
Was that Joe Biden that did that?
That was Jill Biden.
Joe Biden, yeah.
Jill Biden.
She got a lot of shit for that.
Yeah, she referred to the uniqueness within the Latino community. And then there was other stuff that I didn't understand, and I get it. There's like a Latina X. I'm not sure what that means. There's like all these different words and acronyms and all this stuff, but it really was a ridiculous thing to say. And my question comes down to, I knew like the prior administration, Trump would always speak off camera and got himself in trouble a lot with both sides of the aisle.
Yep.
You get that. Here you have a person that should never be speaking off the cuff because he's not cognitively with enough, and they know it.
Right.
But now that when he's on script, it's worse than probably. I really want to hear from the real Joe Biden,
right?
Because right now he's an automaton, just reading.
Yeah, I mean, you can't write on the teleprompter end quote. Repeat the line. Like you can't because dude's gonna read it. Like he can't do it off.
That's crazy.
And that's the thing.
That's insane.
Right? Like it's just I don't know if it's robotic or if he's just cognitively not there. I tend to think it's the latter, but I'm not sure. But it's sad nonetheless.
Yeah,
and we become the laughingstock.
Yeah, I also the thing that was distasteful for me was like, I'm not Latino. I'm not. So I'm not Spanish. No, but I'm saying. So I'm not personally aggrieved by what she said. Although I'm kind of like perturbed. It's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah,
and I can understand those who are being pissed off about it.
Sure, of course.
What I'm not upset about, what I find is kind of coarse, is that she couldn't even walk the statements back herself. She had to have her press secretary.
Yeah.
Dr. Biden, that was the release the next day. Like, come on, man, own it.
Yeah,
you fucked up.
Yeah, own it.
Own it.
Own it. I would have so much more respect.
Just move on.
So I'd have so much more respect for politicians or just people in general if you just own your shit, own your screw ups. Like, okay, why does your press secretary have to leave? Why can't you just get up? Like, you know what? I messed up. I apologize. Yeah. I'm not perfect. Okay, get it. We're all imperfect. I'd have so much more respect for these people if they did that. Yeah. But no one does.
No, they don't. They don't.
Bullshit, man.
Yeah, it's bullshit for sure. Since we're on political conversations in terms of the presidency, Rocco and I are a little bit of a disagreement on this. So we're talking about whether or not Donald Trump will run for president. You're inclined to believe that he has told people that he's made a decision. You think he's going to do it. I don't think he will do it.
I think there's a probable chance that he will.
Okay.
Just because I think he still has support. He still has that celebrity to him. I think people look at him and think he did well as a president. Like, you know, like I think of where we are now compared to where we were. Whether you liked him or not, or mean tweets or not, like America was in a better spot financially, economically. Way better spot.
In a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways. Now, there are other things that are wrong. Every president's at fault for something.
Right.
I think he's going to run because I think that's just his, like, he hates that he lost, one. So I think just his competitive nature in and of itself would push him to run. I think a strategic play, and I don't know if this is what's going on, but say he would run with someone like DeSantis as the vice president. Then that's really, in my opinion, the Republicans trying to get 12 years. Because people love DeSantis right now because he's just no nonsense. He's just, he'd make a great president. If he goes in with Trump as a VP and they have a good 4 years, he's going to get elected for the next 8. Yeah. Pending any no fuck ups. That's what I'm thinking in my head is part of the background story as to why Trump would run.
Okay.
His running mate would be extremely important in this because people aren't just going to vote for Trump this time. It's going to be Trump and who he's running with.
I would agree. So
that running mate is extremely important in this instance.
I think it's going to ultimately be DeSantis and Youngkin as the vice president out of Virginia.
You think?
I do.
Okay, why?
I think he's a Republican star as well as DeSantis.
Okay.
I don't think Youngkin has the wherewithal to be the nominee.
Sure.
But I do think that DeSantis is pretty much the early favorite, and I think he'll be the ultimate favorite. There may be an outlier coming. I just don't see it. The Republicans don't maneuver like that. The Democratic Party traditionally had, you can see interesting outliers that can make a mark and then surge. Looking back historically, it goes with the conservative philosophy. It's more of path, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick right now, outside of Trump, like DeSantis would be the nominee. Like he's the only one standing out as the guy that could do it.
Yeah. I just don't want Trump to run selfishly for me as a middle leaning, a right, like a middle rights where I've always kind of like maneuvered. It's kind of like where you're at.
Yeah, right.
I don't want the country to go through that aggravation again. Some of it wasn't Donald's fault. A lot of it Donald brought on himself.
Sure.
I just think that there are better solutions. The ideas, I'm not talking about economics and all that stuff, conservative fundamental principles about economics and some other aspects of society aren't bad. And and we were heading in that direction during his presidency. Yeah. It was all the shit that came with it that derailed him.
Well, yeah, I agree. But I think a lot of the shit, when you say came with him, I think shit was thrown at him because he was the outsider. I think he did bring a lot of shit on himself. Don't get me wrong. I think he caused a lot of it. But I think take everything else. Like I think a lot was thrown at him because he was the outsider. He was calling to the light all the shit that goes on in Washington. It was people were in self-preservation mode. Like we got to get this guy the fuck out of here because he's going to expose everything that we do. Because he doesn't need the money, he doesn't need the notoriety, doesn't need the celebrity. He was, I believe, whether you liked him or not, and this is not a testament to his character, I believe he truly wanted to do what was best for America. Now, there's better ways he could have done a lot of things, but I don't think he did it for a selfish reason, for a political party, for a political agenda. I think he truly cared about America. If you look historically, the things he said over time, even back to the 80s, it was always, when he was asked, it was always about if America needs me. It was not about Donald J. Trump. It was about the country first. If you look historically at all the shit he said, the people didn't do that. His message was pretty much the same. It was, I'm going to put America first. And if I ever feel the need to do that, that's when I'm going to do it.
Now, see, okay. So to get to where you are in that thought process requires a little bit of sophistication of thought. You need to think things through.
Of course.
I'm going to say that the bulk of Americans on all political spectrums don't go that far. Right.
Absolutely.
Those that can't stand Donald Trump generally are triggered and offended, or they're in some group within the country that is philosophically against him to begin with. But others just hear the blather and the tweeting, and they also feed into the narrative of Donald Trump being this crazy man.
Yes.
Right? So to unpack that takes effort. You didn't get this opinion of him by just looking at a newscast and walking away. And
No.
You're looking at the entire presidency, the policy, and then the antics.
Correct.
So
absolutely right.
So it's a multi-step thought process to get to where you are.
Yes.
I'm doing the same thing, and I can find good in a lot of what he did. There's no doubt. We disagree on whether he should continue, but I ultimately think that most of the country won't. You're either going to love him. Love is a strong tongue. You're either for him or you're against him.
Yeah, right. I agree.
And to be indifferent is one thing, but to be undecided is another. And if someone's undecided, at least they're thinking about it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know
absolutely.
What I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
There's nothing wrong with being undecided at this point.
As long as you're putting in thought behind it.
Correct.
Yes.
And I would hope that people were doing that.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to get back to in this country.
And I don't think that he's going to run. I think he's going to evaluate. I think Donald Trump loves the spectacle of things and loves the celebrity. And part of just how he's built is I think he likes to be in the news. He likes that. And I think that he can keep everybody on bated breath. But I think when he looks at what's happening, I don't think. My question would be, why would he want that aggravation?
That's just who because again, like I mean,
really,
I think it's truly because he cares about the country. Like that's what I mean.
I think
think about it, like you're a billionaire. You don't need any money, any notoriety. You have all these businesses, beautiful wife, family, and then you choose to put it all aside and run for president. Like, why? It's truly, in my opinion, because he actually cared what was going on in this country and wanted to course correct.
Yeah, I won't dispute that.
Yeah, and that's why I think he would do it again. Because, look at the country now in the past years, what shit it's went to.
Well, that's the thing. And I will tell you that we're in a dangerous position now because a lot of the country is ignoring even though it's affecting their pocketbook and it's in their face all day, they're willing to ignore the obvious of what they're living through because they fear the alternative was the devil.
Or they don't want to look like they were wrong. They made the wrong
Either
pick.
way, they either want to die on that hill,
Yep.
or they're too afraid of the boogeyman
I
that
think
was being created.
True.
You know what I mean? So you're right. You're absolutely right. Which is that is like living in complete denial. Now, the left will say that the right is in denial of the evil that Donald Trump is. Like Donald Trump has perpetrated all these things on January. They'll try to paint this picture of this man, which they've still never brought one charge against him. Yep. But they'll paint this picture of him, and then they'll say that the right is willing to throw their morals aside and support this dangerous man to our democracy. So both sides are hammering each other on the same issue.
Well, did you see the comments AOC made, like, you know, off the cuff? Like I think someone caught her outside of like an event, and she was ranting about January 6th, saying the Capitol Police let the people into the Capitol. Like, it got her on video saying this, like the Capitol Police let them in.
Why would she say such a thing?
I mean, because that's what happened. That's what happened. If you look at some of the videos, that are out there, it was not like a bum rush to the Capitol. It was like they let people in.
Yeah.
And why do you think none of this shit is really happening? Like, there's no charges being filed, or
but now, do you think that happened because it was just unprecedented? They didn't know what to do. No one's ever rushed the Capitol before. Like, do we stop them? Are they allowed to come in here? Are they not allowed to come in here? I mean, like, you know, I don't know.
I don't either, but I mean, I feel like
I also say this too. Here's something that no one wants to talk about. It's just an idea.
Yeah.
Did this expose the quality of the government positions of the Capitol Police? Like the quality of people in those positions? Like we really didn't. I mean, not in terms of like good people or bad people. I'm talking about in terms of being fit.
The
police,
physical prowess
of the people protecting.
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to probably guess that they were government jobs with tenure and all that stuff, you know, and where they get baked in, and now you have security guards that are 300 pounds, maybe. You know that the longer you're in a government position, it's almost impossible to move and reposition. And sometimes a police force should be at the top of their game.
Yeah, I
don't
don't think that's the issue with it. Because I mean, I don't think there was a lot of unfit Capitol Police officers that I've seen. Right. I think there was something else going on there.
Okay.
I do. Like, I don't know what that is. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, for something that unprecedented to happen and to watch these Capitol Police on some of these videos that I've seen just stand there and not do anything. When people are saying, you need to stop these people, what are you doing? Like, stop these people. They didn't do anything. Just let them in. So why is that?
It's weird.
Right. It doesn't make sense. There's
very
something
weird.
there.
We're never going to know the
truth.
truth.
We're not. We're never. I just
you're never
accept
know
that.
The truth. So our president's in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And before we get there, though, gas prices have come down a bit, $4.57 as of the time of this filming. They're still ridiculously high.
Yeah, and yes, and that's why he's in Saudi Arabia, I believe, to try and negotiate lower oil prices. How about we just fucking drill here?
It's not going to happen. We say it every time.
I know,
we meet,
and that's what,
not
like,
going to happen.
Why?
Not yet.
Why? Like, that's how I know. Just tell me why. Why won't we do it?
Well, he is being held hostage to the Green Initiative, to this Green Initiative, and I'm sure that's got multiple groups involved in all that, and it's changed names over the time.
Sure.
You know, ecology movement in the 70s turns into this, climate change this, but whatever it is, there is a war on fossil fuel like no other at the expense of the American people, which is nuts to me.
Exactly.
It's an economic war. You can say it's a social war for the planet, but no. It's an economic war. There are people that, because it's not a purely social or a environmental issue, because let's face it, we've talked about it multiple times. You need to have energy to make battery energy.
Yes.
You need to have natural resources to make batteries.
Yes.
You're basically trading one for another.
Yes, exactly.
So it's basically wherever the pot of the money is going to land, which turns into politics.
Yeah.
Just to transfer wealth one way or another.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And the fact that we're over in Saudi Arabia trying to negotiate lower oil prices. Like, what the fuck? Like, just get it here, or at least release some from our storage here.
I think he already dipped into that.
He did.
I think some of that went overseas. Did you see that nonsense?
It did. And that's the
really?
thing. Like, why? Yes.
That actually happened?
Yes. And why aren't we, and this is what frustrates me, like, why aren't we taking care of our country first? Like, that's what we should be doing.
It's a novel idea.
We should be taking care of our own and our country. But yet we're so inclined to send money to foreign countries and third world countries and sell them, or like, no, let's fix the shit here first.
Especially now, man.
Yeah, it's America, man. Fix the shit here.
Yeah. The other ironic thing about his trip to Saudi Arabia was during the campaign trail, he demonized the Saudi Arabian government over the death of a press photographer or journalist, I believe. He made a big campaign issue. And, the thing about national politics is there's always kind of an unwritten rule that you don't make issues out of individuals.
Correct.
For a national election, because it marginalizes the conversation and then you end up getting it used against you as a politician. So when you take an individual's plight and you make it a national circumstance, and now this went into geopolitical. They took the wrongful death, I truly believe, of this journalist in a horrid way, but they made this one man's plight the center of a geopolitical event.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
It's insane.
I
mean, Putin's killing people.
Yeah.
But if Putin wanted to negotiate tomorrow, we'd arrange to have our people in some other room negotiating with him. His decisions has killed innocents.
Yep.
Thousands of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
But we're willing to go to the negotiating table with him. So now we just demonized Saudi Arabia, and we're going to bring Saudi Arabia to justice and all this verbiage. And now he's over there begging.
Well,
he's begging, give me, please.
Correct. And that's the problem with politics, right? This is the situation we get ourselves in. You have a condition in our country that is detrimental right now with gas prices, inflation, the economy. Yet, we can fix the problem here. There's a lot of things we can do here to fix the problem. Yet, we are going to feed and line the pockets of other countries to try and ask them to solve our problem. Well, we know how to solve it here. We should be solving it here. And this is the problem I have with politics on both sides. We need, I love this country. We need to take an America first viewpoint across the fucking board. Both sides of the aisle. Mm-hmm. It's not our job to police the world. It's our job to be a powerhouse and strong and make sure the world stays orderly. In my opinion, if we're not taking care of our own first, we shouldn't be taking care of anybody else. And if we can't get the oil here or deal with this shit here, we shouldn't be going to other countries and begging for it, hat in hand. That's bullshit. We look weak. We can do it here. And that's the part.
100%.
And the fact that we send money and aid to all these countries, yet we have homeless veterans. Mm-hmm. People that chose to put their life on the line for this fucking country.
100%.
So you and I can sit here and do this, and we can't take care of those people. That's the problem I have. And all these people that fucking hate America, then get out.
Hard to argue that, man.
Yeah.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah. Sorry about that,
sad, man.
It is.
It's just sad. It's like, I was reminded over the weekend, this past weekend, that some friends of mine are in California. Mm-hmm. They're in Ontario. They live in Ontario, California, a little bit north of the city of LA. And then one a friend of mine lives very close to Venice Beach. And I had two individual conversations with both, and the Ontario family is moving because they can't take the taxes, the regulation, they can't take the fear that goes from going into the city.
Yes.
And some other things that have been around for decades, like traffic and smog and all that stuff. But just recently, the homelessness thing. Mm-hmm. But my friend that's in Venice Beach used to love to always beg us to come out and hang out. That was the thing. Go to Venice Beach.
Yep.
He wants to get out.
Yeah.
He goes, it's homeless encampments the entire...
Yes. Look at California.
What the fuck's happened, man?
Right. And then look who wants to run for president.
That was where I was headed with
this. I see that.
Like Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is like exploratory committee to determine whether he wants to run for president. He's fucked up California.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he's had help. He's had the Los Angeles mayor is not a gem. Yeah. But under Newsom's rule,
he single-handedly
what's happened
fucked
to
up that state. And you want us to be like, yep, you're the right guy for the job. Why don't you fix America? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
They tried to recall him. He went through a recall, right?
Right. How about you explore just shutting the fuck up and getting out of politics instead of trying to be the president?
Or start fixing your state.
Yeah, it's a mess. Like, you can't tax the problem and fix it.
So to define a woke for an agenda purpose, it's really hard to do because everybody's got a different interpretation. Sure. I don't even call it woke politics. I just call it really, really, really ultra left wing politics, which has kind of been out in California for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just on steroids recently.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at how bad it's gotten out there and the people that are leaving to go to the red states, like that should tell you everything.
It doesn't tell them anything.
No.
They are either in denial.
Yeah.
And see, the funny thing is that they don't see is, it's only going to exacerbate their tax base when they start losing people and companies.
Yeah.
They're already ridiculous taxes. They're just going to have to go up.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if they're okay with that, which I think some of the population in California is okay with that, to live in this utopia of like, we're better than thou, because that is a Californian thing.
Yeah, no.
We're more woke, or we're more, environmental, or we're more this, or we're more that, we're more civil, we're more... Well, there's a shit ton of crime in San Francisco and Oakland.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you that firsthand, right?
Absolutely.
Along with shitting in the streets and all kinds of other weird social norms now.
Yep.
That's not the average family out in Pennsylvania or Ohio or Indiana looking outward into that. That's not normal.
No, not at all. That place is a different country. That's what I always say. Like, even the laws there are so counterintuitive to the way the world works outside of California. That's why I fucking hate the state. Like, it's, when it comes to employer and employee rights, it's so different. Like, everything's difficult there.
Such a shame.
It is. It's a beautiful state. Like, I've been there.
San
It's
Diego,
beautiful.
Man. Oh, my God.
But it's falling apart.
Okay, so... We'll switch it up a little bit here.
Okay.
Well, maybe not. So West Virginia has a senator mansion.
Yeah, love him.
And you do you?
Well, he's doing.
It seems to be this past year he's holding philosophical principle to the highest degree in that he is not joining his fellow Democrats and rubber stamping Joe Biden's Build Back Better government financial. I won't use the word monstrosity, but it seems to be that. It's a big package of money.
Yes.
And as of this filming, he just said that he was not going to do anything that increases money for climate change or adds new taxes.
Yep.
Which, to me, if that's going to hold true to that blanket statement, that nullifies the entire fucking thing.
Absolutely right. Yes.
Because the whole thing is based on increased taxation.
Yeah. You're increasing spending. You got to make that money somewhere by increased taxation. Yes, exactly.
I mean,
that's why his
smoke
party
and mirrors,
is
but the
so
bottom line is
fighting
you
him right now.
extract more money.
Absolutely. It's what the package is, like $1.7 trillion or something, that, or $1.3 trillion. He's holding the party hostage right now. And again, like, there's been differing news reports say, well, he's not holding them hostage. He's just saying, hey, let's wait till August so we can see the July inflation numbers and see what the Fed does with the interest rates before we make any decision on whether taxing or spending makes sense. Okay, that's still a smart thing to do. Like, they're just trying to jam this down when they think they have the votes to do it.
I have another theory.
Okay.
I think the other theory is he's waiting to watch the political winds.
That could be too.
Wants to reaffirm what he's already knowing.
Yeah.
Is that there's probably going to be
the tide is shifting.
Yeah, probably be a red wave, whether it's the House and the Senate. Probably more likely will be the House.
Yeah.
But he's gauging that. And
I would
looking
agree.
at the political winds, I think. And I hope he stays true to his principle. I hope he doesn't. I can't imagine he's going to see anything that's going to make him feel better about spending money in August than he appears to feel right now.
No, because I think inflation is going to either keep going up or stay nearly the same. Interest rates are going up again. And the Fed just said that interest rates did not help inflation. So they got to increase them even more. Like, the increase they've done didn't do anything to inflation because they increased rates and now it's at 9.1%. Highest rate in 40 years. Highest inflation. Food cost is up 10%. Gas is up, I think, 40 or 60%. I just saw a statistic. Chicken is up 18%. Like, think about it. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat a lot of fucking chicken.
You do.
18%. That's a lot of money. Like, and these are the things, like, housing's
more organic for Rocco.
And I still like the organic. It just costs more money. But it's like, even housing's up. Like, everything is up. And I don't think there's going to be something that shifts in the next month where he's going to be like, yeah, this makes sense to do this now. Let's spend a bunch of money. Let's raise taxes.
I can't see it.
No. We can't tax our way out of a problem. We have to reduce spending and fix inefficiencies. Well, right, but it doesn't work. Like, we have to fix the inefficiencies in government.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. So, slight right turn. There's a study by UPI. I'll quote the woman's name. I'll say woman.
Okay.
I assume she's a woman. If she's not, I
Birthing
apologize.
person?
I'm just birthing person.
Yes.
I see the word Judy. I'm assuming that's a female name. If it's not, shoot me. Judy Packer, I think it's Tursman, Tursman. In her story, I found it fascinating that in her story, she's making the case that a study was done with 29,000 people in sample size, that even having 2 to 3 drinks daily is...
Daily or weekly?
I thought it was daily.
Oh, I thought you told me weekly.
Oh.
We were discussing
Maybe
this.
I'm wrong.
Okay.
Anyways, it's basically she was saying that there is measurable cognitive decline now with use of alcohol. Like, who didn't know that?
Well, right. I mean, if it is 2 to 3 drinks a day, yes, because I thought we were talking about this beforehand. You said 2 to 3 drinks a week. Well, I'm like, I'm fucked. No,
it wasn't 2 beers a day, right? The article
that makes more sense then, because when you misspoke, because you said 2 beers a week. I'm like, well, I've had 2 beers after work yesterday, so I'm like, well, my brain's shot this week. I can't have any more.
I think they're saying 2 beers a day.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can see that, right? I mean,
who knows?
But again, like, okay, what beer are they drinking? Is it Icy Light, or is it IPA? Is it strong beer? Like, I know one time I drank Mad Elf and ended up in my downstairs bathroom. Just because
Mad Elf? That's a thing?
I'll give you a funny story.
Okay.
This is a left turn. Met a buddy from law school a few years ago. Hadn't seen him, caught up. It was like a Tuesday after work. And it was in the wintertime. Mad Elf, I think it's made by Trogs, in PA.
Yeah.
Strong beer, didn't know. Okay, so go to the bar, order one, had one. Tasted good, liked it. Ordered a second one, had it. Okay, felt completely fine. Like, I can have 3-4 beers, no problem. Ordered a third one, drank it. Okay, cool. We were there for like a couple hours. I was like, I'm gonna have one more, and I can't serve you anymore. I'm like, why? They're like, well, they're strong beer. I'm like, okay, well, just give me I think I got like a Miller Lite or something. Felt completely fine. Went home, and it hit me. It hit me to the point where I slept in my downstairs bathroom. Like our half bathroom. Even better, get to the office the next day. My buddy emails me. He's like, hey, dude, did those beers hit you funny last night? I woke up in my 5-year-old's bed. I'm like, you don't say. I woke up in my downstairs bathroom and don't remember how I got there. And this was like that beer, I think it's like 10% alcohol.
Right.
So it was like if I drank 2 of those a day, my brain's done. Like, I'm cognitively gone. Sorry.
Mad Elf.
So great tasting beer in the wintertime. Don't have more than 2 or you're going to sleep in a bathroom.
Well, it's funny, like, 1 glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine a day is good for the vascular system.
I think it's 1 glass of wine.
And that, you never know.
Well, I mean there's a study for everything. I can pay anybody to give me a study that supports my opinion. Pharmaceutical companies do it all the time, right? They sponsor a study to find people to say, yes, this drug is good. This drug is bad. You should eat this. You should not eat this. They're all sponsored by someone. No. Right? I mean, it's the truth.
Go there.
but that's what happens.
So speaking of vaccines,
yes.
There is a study that's saying that it's funny, like, there's a big push for child vaccines now for COVID under 5, and then, like, depending on what news source you watch, because I watch and I also investigate both news channels, just 2, Fox and CNN. There's MSNBC. There's some other outliers, but those are the 2 heavies. You will get completely different viewpoints there.
Yes.
That leads me to back to COVID in general, though. It's like, I guess there's a new variant coming. Is it BA something?
I ignore COVID.
Well, there was actually a headline. The reason I bring it up, there's a headline yesterday on CNN saying, due to the new BA yada 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 strain, should be we resume indoor masking events. Should we resume indoor masking for events?
Nope.
I'm just saying to you, this was a headline on CNN yesterday.
For what?
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, no. If you're asking me, my answer is a hard no.
All right, so we're not going to do it because Rocco said no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I just think it's stupid. Like, I mean, if we look back at those years, like, we were fucking out of our mind. But I digress.
All right, this will be a slippery one for us to maneuver, but we're going to do it.
Let's slide.
So, oh God. So the World Health Organization.
Okay, here we go. WHO.
Yeah, they came out with some comments in regards to the concept of gender, and I guess for their reasons of inclusionary or whatever it is, or how they're going to define gender going forward. But traditional male and female species is kind of done for WHO, right? And this was on CNN, it was on Fox, it was on every news channel. So obviously, and it was New York Times, it was everywhere. So again, we're going down this path of confusion, which leads more and more people to be confused, and possibly some folks to create issues that really weren't there to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, call me old school, but I kind of look at things differently. But I mean, what I think they're doing is, sex is defined as male and female maybe, and gender as an identity, and there's going to be but again, my whole thing is, okay, like, I understand there are certain things with gender, right, or certain identities. Where do we draw the line? Where do we say these 4 are good, 5 and 6 aren't? These 10 make sense, 11 and 12 don't. Like, where do we draw the line? Do we just keep letting people create their own identities?
Yes, because it is now in society not the in thing to do to tell anybody no, to put any guide rails, or to hurt anyone's feelings, you see. Well, it's because we don't want to institutionally hurt anyone's feelings.
Well, guess what?
Potentially, and so we are now going to enter the area of bizarro world, where anything goes.
Yeah, but guess what? Getting your feelings hurt and getting upset, like, that builds resilience and grittiness and the things it takes to be successful in this world. And that's the problem we have. Like, we're so against offending or upsetting anybody. Guess what? Life is upsetting. Life is fucking hard. Deal with it. Like, I'm fine if you want to have your... I'm not going to tell you how to identify, but it's when we start making decisions for everybody else. I watched this video of this guy, and he was talking about, like, the different genders. He's like, I don't have a problem with any of this shit. Like, whatever you want to do, that's no... He's like, I have a problem when you tell me I have to tell my kids what you believe.
Of course.
And I'm like, that clicked for me. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, everybody can have their own opinions. You can believe there's 100 genders, but if I don't believe that, I shouldn't be vilified because I don't teach my kids that. And that's what's happening, though. Well, you should be teaching your kids there are 100 genders. I'm like, no, I don't believe that. My belief is different.
So this is fascinating to me. So let's say we have a swath of people that believe exactly what you said. You should be teaching your children that it's the person's decision to ultimately determine what's best for them, and what they're going to be, and what they're going to be viewed as. Yeah. The natural rebuttal would be, well, you're telling me to teach my children that, but I want to know why you teach evolution in school. That's not my belief structure.
Right? Yeah. Good point. Great point.
Isn't that like a direct comeback?
Yep.
I mean,
that's exactly right.
You want me to believe that there's an infinite amount of genders. And
yes.
It's user determined.
Yes.
And that's what I should be teaching my kids, that belief structure. Yep. But you won't, in turn, you're going to continue to preach evolution when I don't believe that science based upon my religious belief.
Correct. And now it's selective what we have to teach our kids. And again, like going back to the podcast I did with Matt and Mike, we did the Collapse of Parenting book, and that whole thing about, like, where parents have gone wrong or where parenting has gone wrong. It's like, well, what do you think? What do you want it to be? It's like, no, as parents, it's our job to tell the fucking kids until they can make their own decision. It's my job to say, this is what it is. That stove is hot because I've touched it. I've got fucking burnt. No, I'm not going to say, well, why don't you see if it's hot? Like, I know you're going to get burnt. Like, I'm trying to prevent you from having injury. Like, that's my job as a parent. It's not my job to be their friend. It's not my job to let them decide certain things. It's my job to instill in them values and certain structures and frameworks in life. And that's the problem I have. Like, when I watched that video, it hit right to me. So I'm like, whatever you believe, that's you. Like, I'm not going to say my beliefs are above anyone else's, right? You can have your own beliefs when it comes to gender and how many identities there are, no problem. But you cannot tell me what I have to tell my kids. Because now you're saying your beliefs are better than mine, or more important than mine, or more valuable than mine. And that's bullshit.
I haven't heard it in the news yet, but I'm sure it's coming, this following scenario. Mm-hmm. If we don't figure this out as a society, I can anticipate the following happening.
Okay.
That teachers in a school district will suspect that a male student really should be female based upon what they perceive to be done. And they are going to put pressure on parents to change that child's sex, right? They're going to start telling the parents that they know that this child really should be female. He wants to be female. That might appear to be true. I'm not saying that their observation might not make them feel that way, but they're going to take it a step further, where they're going to try to intervene with the parents' legal ability to deal with this minor. And that's what I'm afraid of. That really is what I'm afraid of.
And I will tell the teacher to fuck off, and I will take my kid out of that school. If
I
that's
think
the case.
Most people would, but
teachers aren't trained to do that.
I think this is where we're headed.
We can't. If we head down that path, this country's
teachers,
fucked.
Again, woke is not my definition, but someone that's ultra left, and that type of thinking, that philosophical thinking, they will more than likely want to intervene and parent the child better than the parent, and that would include a gender reassignment. You know what I mean?
No. Your job is
we're headed that way.
Your job is to teach my kid math, English, science, language, art, whatever the fuck that is. It's not your job to tell my kid what gender they are. Like, just know your fucking role.
You would think.
Yeah.
But you watch. This is where we're headed if we don't see a seismic shift in society. This is where we're
going to see that seismic shift, I think. Because I think there's a lot more parents like me out there that are just getting fed up with this shit. I don't have any problem with what people's beliefs are. Like, it's not my place to say. I have a problem when you force your beliefs on me and I don't align with them. That's the problem I have. And I think there's a lot more people like me out there that have been this silent majority that are now starting to speak up. Because now there's the point where I was like, no, like we can't go this way. I'm not forcing my views on you.
Yeah.
So why are you forcing your views on me? And why am I being vilified? Because I don't believe there's 100 genders. I believe in a different definition. Sorry, that's just me. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm not telling you can't do whatever you feel you need to do or whatever you identify as. That's great. It's when you tell me that my belief is wrong. Says who? That's the problem I have.
Yeah,
I'm ranting today, man.
I'm in congruence with that, man.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I just think that we're in for an interesting time if it gets to the point where children are going to be evaluated for their sexual tendencies by teachers or school administrators, and then that intervention will try to take place, but dictated by the school into the parental environment. It sounds crazy, but you know what? There's a lot of crazy shit in the world, man, and that could happen.
I didn't think when I was a kid that I'd grow up and be like, "Whoa, there's a lot of genders." I'm like, I was not taught that in school.
No, and I will tell you, my children are no longer children anymore. But if they were, and they were in a school and there was bathroom concerns, I don't want my daughter going into a bathroom, and going to bathroom, using the facilities alongside male,
right?
Because I don't want that, and I don't care how I'm labeled or branded by society. You can all go fuck yourself.
Yes,
I don't want that.
I agree.
For my daughter.
I agree.
If you're okay with that with your daughter, I don't like it.
Yeah,
but that's your business.
Yeah,
but you're not imposing that on me.
Yeah, I'm not okay with that either.
That's where I was today. If that was happening, because I think that's also where we're headed. If it's not already happening in some areas, right? Yeah.
Well, so, and that leads us like an individual came in yesterday and was telling me about this new nonprofit. This one guy started about sex trafficking. A lot of that shit happens like that.
Of course.
Like these young girls, they get these people that just like go into bathrooms and they just and kidnap. Like it's crazy. Like the shit that happens.
Of course.
Like people aren't looking at the unintended consequences of all this shit.
This is an order in society that's breaking down.
Yes.
And this is an order. And again, it's there's a reason why there's a government and structure and the rest of it. It's flawed and it needs to be reined in, and there needs to be regulations, and there needs to be a good political system that brings new blood in all the time, all that stuff. But you can't have anarchy.
Yes.
I mean, Johnny Rotten said it best, it was a song.
Yeah.
Anarchy doesn't fucking work.
It doesn't. It does not work.
Right?
Not at all. Nope. And that's where we're headed.
Jesus Christ. It isn't a hard concept.
No, it's not.
It isn't a free, life is not a free for all.
No, it's not.
Anyways, okay, moving along. When I say the acronym JWST, what's that mean to you?
I mean,
You're on the clock.
I mean, I don't really know what that means. I
stumped the attorney.
I know isn't it the telescope?
It is the James Webb Space Telescope.
Yeah.
So this to give you some background, Rocco's familiar with it. He just doesn't. He's not spoken.
I just know the memes about this.
Yeah, well, so this James Webb Space Telescope was launched by NASA. It's unbelievable what it's doing.
It's like photos.
Yeah, it's a much more accurate and refined lens into the cosmos than the Hubble was. And Hubble was groundbreaking, but this is the next level shit. So they had to shoot it up there after like years of planning, and they shoot this device up, and then it unfolds, and then they calibrate it, and now they're starting to get the pictures.
It's crazy.
And it's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What's crazy is one of the photos they released, Rocco, was, let's just say, it's a photo you're looking at. And in that photo, there's visible what they're telling us is like thousands of galaxies. Now, thousands of galaxies.
That's crazy.
Or maybe more than thousands, but just a lot.
Yeah.
And they said to equate this space that you're looking at to all of space, is if you took a grain of sand and you stuck it out at the end of your arm and you looked at it, that grain of sand compared to everything, that little grain of sand is what you're seeing in this photograph.
Holy shit!
So it's so vast that the human cannot wrap mind around it.
I can't mentally conceptualize that.
Now, from a time standpoint or from a size.
No, that's crazy.
Right? Yeah, I would encourage anybody, if they have time, to go to just type in James Webb Space Telescope. Yeah. And just dive in a little bit, just because it's amazing. Now, you can make the argument about like money spent and government money spent. You can make all those arguments. And I'm the Hadron Collider. Are you familiar with that? In CERN, and they built this long, multi-mile. I think it's long, a lot of miles, but they're smashing atoms over there. I think it was billions and billions of dollars to make this thing. Yes. So, and now they want to build a bigger one. Of course, every time they do it and they don't get the results they want, or they think there's more results to get, they make a bigger and bigger one, right? It isn't just Americans that feel this way. Yeah. The whole world's doing this, right? We can argue whether some of that money is kind of ridiculously spent, but this thing's kind of interesting. Like they say they're looking back in time, Rocco, like to maybe a couple 100,000 years before the Big Bang. That's
crazy. That, like I said, the memes were hilarious. It was like, we can create a telescope that can see billions of light years away, but we can't create a Ring doorbell camera that can get a clear picture of someone's face that's 10 feet away. I'm like, that's pretty actually.
It's a lot of truth.
That's a lot of truth to that.
Like the resolution's pretty shitty on those rings, right?
Exactly. I'm like, it's pretty fucking good meme. That's why I love the internet.
Why I want to bring this up though is that is like, what is your thoughts on this? Because now when I saw that photograph, and I'm already wrapped up in this stuff because it fascinates me anyways, but we're so infinitesimally small. Yeah. In this mix of everything that we are seeing now. Yeah. Like, right?
Yeah. I can't even wrap my brain around it. Like, I know when I start thinking about the vastness of the universe and time and space, like, my head just gets all fucked up. Because I'm a very in the moment person. Like, I'm very focused. When I try and like zoom out a little bit and think about that, I'm like, I don't even know. Do I exist? Like, I start asking myself, like, the most random questions, like, why am I here? Like, what's the purpose of all this? What happens when I die? Where do I go? Like,
what bus will I take to get there?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, I try and avoid those questions because I know that I will go down a rabbit hole in my brain and I will lose 4 hours just thinking. And I'm like, I don't have the time to do that right now because I would just get lost in my own thoughts. I've done it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
So hard to conceptualize.
I would think the humans could use this maybe to realize how, and I don't like the word insignificance, but
inconsequential.
How inconsequential aspects of our life is. Maybe our life in its entirety, or even our planet, right? But we blow everything up to be just like caustic and
Yeah.
So nothing is really that important. You put it in perspective.
No, I mean, you're right. When you think about that, it's like, I mean, yeah, like, what am I even doing here?
You go the other direction, go fatalist. I mean,
right.
We don't want to do that.
No.
But yeah, I just, generally, do you have any philosophical issues with the amount of money that's put into space and science research like this?
I'd rather money be spent there on the stupid shit we spend it on otherwise. I mean, because I think there is benefit to explore what's out there. Like, we need to know. I think there's probably a lot of answers out there that could help us here. And I think within reason, I don't think you spend all the money on science, but I think I'd rather them spend that on like exploring space and exploring the ocean and all of these things that NASA does instead of the bullshit we spend money on.
Yeah, I'm there with you. It's a tough argument sometimes because you see a lot of people in need, but at the same time, we already have the resources to help those people. We just don't.
Well, right. So I would reframe my answer to say, I'm fine spending that money if we were spending it on helping us first, like helping the people in America that need, like the veterans and people like that that we're just letting, be homeless, and we're not doing what we should be doing for these people. Like, we should be spending the money there first. Then what's left, spend somewhere else.
I totally agree. Agree. All right, partner.
Yeah.
That's going to do it.
I love it, man.
All right.
It was good.
Until the next time.
Absolutely.
2 weeks from now.
Cool.
Rocco Cozza. We're out.